So Volkswagen have just released the brand new T7 Transporter. So this is pretty exciting, especially if you love transporter vans like myself. But as you can see, this transporter looks pretty different than the vans before it. It's shaped completely different, and that is because obviously, if you didn't really know, Volkswagen and Ford have now teamed up and they're creating vans together. So first look, I think it actually looks pretty cool. When I first saw it, I wasn't keen on it at all, but now I've looked at the photos more, I actually think it looks pretty nice. And I think the general feedback as well that people have the past couple of days, it's about 50-50. I think some people like it and some people don't. So let's get into the specs and see what it's got to offer. So the T7 will be released in Germany in 2025. It will have a retail price of €36,780. The flatbed with a crew cab will be from €39,130, and this will be net in each case. And it will be the first transporter that will be available in a choice of diesel, plug-in, hybrid or electric drive. So this T7 looks pretty different, and that is because it is largely based on the Transit Custom from Ford. You can see this from the shape of the van, especially at the rear, and it just looks completely different from the other predecessors such as the T6 and the T5. So the 7th generation of the Transporter will be launched in 3 variants. They'll have an estate, a panel van and a flatbed, and also a Caravelle. So moving on to the engine options, so there'll be a diesel, there'll be a plug-in hybrid, and there'll be fully electric. So the diesel engines, you'll have 3 options available. You'll have 109 brake horsepower, 147 and 168. The plug-in hybrid will have an output of 229 brake horsepower, and the all-electric will have 3 options available as well. So that will have 134 brake horsepower, 215 brake horsepower and 282 brake horsepower. So that's pretty interesting on that one, and it should deliver a range around 200 miles. So you can do assumptions on that. You never get max 200 miles. I don't know, EV, if you've got aircon on or wipers and stuff like that, it does bring it down. So that'll be interesting to see how much they actually get from that, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, really exciting on the engine front and there. I would still stick to diesel because I just think it's cheaper to buy and it's cheaper to run, especially doing long journeys. It's cheaper to charge at home, but when you're out and about and you're paying for fast chargers, it can definitely be way more expensive, especially in a van. When you get a big transport, you can do 800 miles on a run, and it is diesel going down now, it's getting pretty cheap. So pretty good. Anyway, moving on to the next point. So the electric versions will have power reduced and a smaller battery, so that'll be better for urban traffic and urban deliveries if you're just going around the cities. The TDI and e-hybrid models are front-wheel drive, and there'll also be a 4Motion all-wheel drive available as well, with the TDI versions from 150 brake horsepower. The purely electric models will have rear-wheel drive, and this will be planned to be released at a later date. The 170 TDI will be equipped with an 8-speed automatic gearbox as standard, while the 150 TDI is optional. The automatic transmission is mandatory for the plug-in hybrid and the electric models as well. So moving on to the interior, the T7 will no longer be started using a key. It'll be keyless to start it, just press a button like most modern cars now. You'll have 12-inch and 13-inch screens inside of it, standard and multifunctional steering wheel, so that's pretty cool, so that's really handy to have that. And just all the other basic, high-tech stuff you kind of expect to have now. The handbrake lever has been removed as well, and it's been located in the centre of the dashboard, and it'll be switched for a parking brake. So it's just kind of like updating it into the modern stuff really, and you get all the other same kind of stuff. So you have like space-saving steering column, large cup holders, just everything you kind of have in a van. It just makes everything, there's loads of space in the van. You've got loads of space to put stuff and that kind of thing. So moving on to the dimensions of the vans, this is the exciting bit of how big it is, and it's going to be bigger than the ones before because it has got that Ford look, and they are typically bigger. So the new T7 is just over 5 meters long. So doing it in millimeters, it's 5,050 millimeters long. So it's an extra 146 millimeters compared to the T6.1. The wheelbase has been increased by 97 millimeters to 3,100. And there'll be an optional longer wheelbase, which will be an extra 400 millimeters. So the overall length, that'll be 5,450 mil. So the width is slightly wider as well at 2,032 millimeters. So it's 128 millimeters wider than the previous versions. And the maximum width between the wheel arches on the interior has been increased by 148 millimeters to 1,392. So that's going to be a lot better for putting stuff inside it, especially for camper conversions as well. That's going to be pretty cool. So the load compartment length on the floor of the van with a normal wheelbase is 2,602 millimeters. So this is increased by 61 mil. With the extended wheelbase version, the load compartment will increase to 3,002 millimeters. So obviously you get a lot more room in that one, which is pretty cool. And then obviously they're going to do a high top version as well, which can hold up to 9 cubic meters. And you can obviously get 6 seats in the back of it if you want to convert it into that. So yeah, it's going to be a lot bigger. Well, not massively, but it will be bigger, which would be cool. A lot more square, because obviously, transport's typically kind of curved, aren't they? So that'd be pretty good. So electricity inside the van, it's going to come with all the typical things. So you've got 12 volt sockets, you get USB-A, USB-C, so you can plug in your 230 volt devices. In the diesel versions, there'll be a 230 volt socket, is always located on the driver's seat frame. And then the van with the electric drive will also have 2 additional sockets in the area of the D pillars on request, so you can put that as an optional extra. So just kind of all standard with that one. So moving on to payload and towing capacity. So the maximum payload is up to 1.33 tons. And if that's not enough, the new generation Transporter can pull trailers weighing up to 2.8 tons to wherever the load is needed. So the previous predecessor T6.1 could do 2.5 tons, so there's a little bit increase on that. So standard equipment on that, you've got LED lights, LED tail lights, electronic parking brake, auto hold function, got 12-inch display in the inside, a DAB radio, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it's all pretty much standard just for updating the car on that new one. Multifunction steering wheel, which is pretty cool. Keyless start, rain sensor, lane assist, front assist, emergency braking. Yeah, so there's pretty much all kind of standard stuff from there that's updating it to, you know, the modern day cars on that one. So moving on to the Caravelle version, this will come with 9 seats as standard, and the bench seat in the middle, you can have 3 seats as well. Obviously the interior of that will be a little bit nicer than it is normally, so you can have curtains, upgraded audio speakers, that kind of thing. So typically the Caravelle is just a higher quality than the typical van. Also, you're going to get a better trim level, so you're going to get better bumpers, exterior mirrors, that kind of thing, so it'll just look better like you normally do. It will come with air conditioning, which on the van sometimes you don't get that, so it's like an upgrade you can get onto them. You have armrest for the driver's seat, which you don't always get in the commercial transporters for like the builder's van, so that'll be upgraded as well. There'll be more USB ports, and there'll also be 16-inch alloys available on that one as well. So again, you're just getting little extras on that you wouldn't normally typically get on the builder's van. And then the outside, like I said, the styling will just be slightly different as well on that one. So as you can see, it's pretty exciting. It's got quite a lot to offer, quite a lot of benefits. The extra size is pretty cool. It'd be interesting to see the crossover between the Volkswagen and the Ford in person, see what it's like. But I think initial reaction, it looks really good. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if you think this is going to be a van for you, or you're going to stick to the T6 and the T5, the traditional look, or you're going to swap it up, a bit like the Caddy. The Mark V Caddy is very different to the Mark IV, but it's been pretty well received and quite popular. So yeah, let me know in the comments below, and let me know your opinions.